You may have seen this clip in a previous video. In that video, Dr. Brian Tracy made some highly inaccurate and harmful remarks. He said Canada is lawless, stigmatized drug abusers, and spoke of actions that would worsen the drug crisis.
Canada is lawless right now. And these are people who cannot take care of themselves. And when you're a taxpayer in those countries and you're supporting their habit and they're not capable of performing a livelihood, I'm sorry, I would stop paying my taxes.
I realized the potential harm of this content as it was shared widely, and some highly influential people watched that channel.
And Ho Ching, the ex-head of Temasek and wife of PM Lee, Prime Minister, has posted my videos several times.
I emailed the channel owner to avoid unnecessary drama, as we all make mistakes, but I didn't receive a response. So I made a reaction video that pointed out that the claims were nowhere near true. And I left a comment on Dr. Tracy's LinkedIn post where he shared the video. But he deleted my comment and blocked me. Can you imagine that? Blocking someone for pointing out errors? And sadly, he doubled down on his rhetoric by making a new LinkedIn post. Since I can't comment on the new misinformation in the post, let's discuss it here. In my recent YouTube interview with Max Chernoff, I claimed that there were individuals with significant arrest records. It's interesting that he's downplaying his original claim, because in the interview he gave a very high number.
Two guys, I think, had over 400 arrests.
Seems that this very first fact check yielded an immediate confirmed arrest record of only 40 arrests for just one individual. How many more? I didn't know that he looks for facts after he makes bold claims, not before. It gets worse. After I get through his article's paywall, I can only discern 7 arrests and 38 offences, not 40 immediate confirmed arrests. I did not expect someone who calls himself a chief medical officer to be so cavalier about facts, even after he's been called out for misinformation. To be fair, the article he linked argues that in one of Canada's 10 provinces, the system is failing offenders of certain crimes. But there's a difference between being mostly truthful and mostly untruthful. Indeed, the difference between 400 arrests and 7 arrests is like night and day. Dr. Tracy speaks of Singapore as a beacon of law and order. Yet the Singapore man has been hauled to court 9 times for property-related offences. On his last court appearance alone, he admitted to 14 charges and was sentenced to a total of 13 months jail. Does that make Singapore a lawless country? No. Indeed, the World Justice Project ranks Singapore and Canada highly in criminal justice. Its surveys of experts and the public rank both countries at 7th and 12th respectively. And for overall rule of law, they are at 17th and 12th. Dr. Tracy then says that drug deaths in Canada are comparable to US military deaths in the Vietnam War. This comparison is extremely careless at best. Canada has way more people than the US sent to Vietnam. If we let this kind of analysis shape our thinking, we'd be harming ourselves left, right, and center, especially when it repeatedly stigmatizes drug abusers. Let's have Harvard professor Joji Suzuki tell us the truth about drug addiction.
And we look for 3 distinct features to diagnose opioid addiction. The first is that the person is unable to control the behavior. There tends to be a compulsive use of the particular substance, in this case, opioids.
Indeed, let's hear an addict's feelings after she took heroin.
How did you feel?
Like I let myself down.
If a person only abuses drugs, they need help to overcome their addiction, not punishment. Even Singapore, famous for the death penalty for drug trafficking, has stopped giving criminal records to people who only abuse drugs.
If they only abuse drugs and have not committed other offenses, they are channeled to receive treatment and do not get a criminal record.
When drug abusers resort to crime to feed their habit, we need to deal with them appropriately. But we also need to be aware that they may have lost their sense of right and wrong. Calling them criminals can cause them not to seek the help that they need.
You know, years ago when I finally understood that I had a problem and I knew that I needed help, I was too afraid to ask for it. I felt that people would think I was stupid, that I was weak-willed, that I was morally flawed. But I talk about my recovery because I want to make change. I want us to see that we need to be open and candid about who we are and what we can do.
Indeed, US President Obama later appointed him Director of National Drug Control Policy.
We see police chiefs across the country guiding people to treatment instead of jail and incarceration. We see law enforcement, others, and other first responders reversing overdoses with naloxone to give people a second chance for care. But fundamentally, all of this work is not enough unless we change the way that we view people with addiction in the United States.
And not paying taxes will worsen drug abuse by reducing the funds available for rehabilitation services. There's already a lack of recovery services.
In 6 or 7 months, as they're on the wait list, they could die. When a person reaches out for help, you have to strike while the iron's hot.
It doesn't matter if you didn't mean it literally. You're still sending a strong message of disapproval. If there's a drug problem, the evidence-based solution is to advocate for more treatment and better treatment. You may not be successful, but at least you're not pushing things in the wrong direction. The worse the crisis is, the more we need to call for better solutions. The irony is that people who follow Dr. Tracy's idea may be punished for evading taxes, but Dr. Tracy himself won't, because he lives outside of Canada. I did everything I could to avoid making this video. That's why I emailed and commented, but no correction was made. I think stigmatizing drug addicts and calling a country lawless based on the flimsiest of evidence is just unwarranted. When we give criticism, let's make things better, not worse. For example, here's a video where I praise Singapore and criticize Canada. Let's feed the world accurate information and be glad when we find mistakes, because we've learned something. If anyone wants to point out mistakes in my videos, I will gladly make a compilation of all my mistakes. Cheers!